All right. So are you ready to dive into some really, really fascinating stuff?
Always.
We're going to be talking about the end times.
Okay.
That's right. The ultimate fate of the world,
Okay.
according to some of the biggest religions out there.
Right.
We're talking Christianity, Islam, and Judaism,
Okay.
all stemming from that same Abrahamic tradition. You've given us a whole stack of sources about this, and it's a total wild ride.
It is.
We've got prophecies and saviors and epic battles. It's
Oh.
got everything.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how these different belief systems,
Right.
while they come from that same Abrahamic tradition,
Yeah.
they envision the end of history in such different ways.
Yeah.
There are definitely some shared themes,
For sure.
like Judgment Day and a messianic figure, but
Yeah.
when you get into the specifics, it's just surprisingly diverse.
Yeah, it is. I think that's what we're going to see as we sort of get into this.
Okay.
So let's start with Christianity
Okay.
and what is basically the blockbuster movie version of the end times. We're talking about the Book of Revelation.
Right.
Second Coming of Christ, the rise of the Antichrist. Talk about a bad guy.
A final battle of good versus evil.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much bigger than that.
What's interesting to me here is that there seems to be such an emphasis on the sequence of events.
Yes.
It's not just that the end is coming.
Yeah.
It's that it unfolds in a very particular way. What do you make of that?
Well, I think part of that has to do with the historical context of Revelation.
Okay.
The book is full of this vivid imagery, angels
Absolutely.
and plagues and a dragon.
Yeah.
But those aren't just there for entertainment. They're actually symbolic.
Okay, so what do they symbolize?
Well, take the seven-headed beast, for instance.
Okay.
To the early Christians, that likely represented the Roman Empire, which was actively persecuting them at the time.
I see. So it's like they're using these kind of crazy, fantastical images to talk about
Exactly.
what was actually going on.
It's a combination of prophecy and social commentary, all wrapped up in this apocalyptic narrative.
That's so interesting.
And this idea of a very specific sequence of events leading up to the end,
Yeah.
that's a key element of the Christian view.
And in a way, it makes it kind of even more dramatic, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's not just, oh, it's all going to end sometime, but it's like, no, it's going to go like this, and then this.
Exactly. And there's a sense of urgency and anticipation that comes with that.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, so we've got Christianity with this like huge dramatic climax,
Right.
but then Islam comes along.
Yeah.
And it offers a slightly different perspective on the whole end times thing, right?
Yes.
Like they've got their own narrative,
Uh-huh.
but their Jesus, who they call Isa,
Yes.
he's not coming back as God himself.
That's right.
He's coming back as a servant of Allah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty significant difference, isn't it?
It is, and it really highlights how each faith places different emphasis on the role of prophets.
Yeah.
For Muslims, Jesus is a revered prophet, but the ultimate authority rests with Allah.
And speaking of powerful figures,
Yes,
we can't forget about the Mahdi.
absolutely not.
Who is this guy?
So the Mahdi
Yeah.
is this figure who's prophesied to appear before the day of judgment
Okay.
to fight oppression and establish justice
Got it.
alongside Jesus.
Interesting. And he's not in the Christian version, right?
Yeah, no, not in the same way. The Mahdi is specific to Islam.
Okay.
There's a lot of debate within Islamic scholarship about the specifics of his role,
Okay.
but the core idea is that he'll pave the way for a just and righteous society before that final reckoning.
So essentially, he's like setting the stage
Yeah, you could
for
say
the main event.
exactly.
So, okay, so far we've got Christianity with its epic showdown.
Right.
We've got Islam with this idea of a divinely guided figure restoring justice before the end.
Right.
And then we come to Judaism,
Yes.
and it seems like they're playing a whole different game entirely.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
They're still waiting for their Messiah to show up for the first time.
Yes.
No second coming necessary.
That's a key difference.
What's up with that?
Well, in Judaism, the concept of the Messiah is more about ushering in an era of peace and global righteousness
Okay.
rather than presiding over a final judgment.
So it's less about the end of the world,
Right.
more about
It's about the transformation of the world
right.
into a place of harmony and justice
Right.
centered around a restored Israel.
So they're looking forward to this messianic age,
Yes.
but it's not about fire and brimstone.
Not all.
It's about the world coming together in peace.
Precisely.
It is just amazing to me how all three faiths can have this shared origin,
I know.
and yet they've come up with such different ideas about how it's all going to end.
It really speaks to the human need to make sense of existence
Yeah.
to find meaning even in the face of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Whether it's a fiery apocalypse or an era of global peace,
Yeah.
these narratives provide a framework for understanding our place in the grand scheme of things.
You know, it really makes you think. These stories, these beliefs,
I know.
they've had such a huge impact on art and culture and even politics
Oh, absolutely.
for centuries. They're just woven into the fabric of our world.
You know, for anyone listening, exploring these different perspectives
Yeah.
might raise some new questions for you.
Like what?
Well, like, how do these ancient prophecies influence our understanding of current events? Would they offer any guidance or solace in a world that often feels like it's teetering on the edge?
Yeah.
These end times narratives, they're not just about the future.
Right.
They're also a window into ourselves, into our hopes and our fears.
For sure.
Our longing for meaning and purpose.
That's all pretty deep stuff.
It is.
But that's what we do here on The Deep Dive.
That's right.